Hello and welcome to Cloud Lunch and Learn Marathon Series. My name is Keshav and I'm going to talk about the Azure Sentinel. So in this session I'm going to help you in learning the Azure Sentinel. Before we move further, a quick round of introduction around myself. So my name is Keshav Jain. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I hold around 13 plus years of experience in infrastructure management, uh, the application packaging, uh, and Azure monitoring and many other things. I mostly works on the technologies like Azure Sentinel, Azure Monitor, Azure Log Analytics, Azure Automation. These are very close to my heart. Then I work on the System Center Operations Manager also. And recently I started uh, working on the technologies like Microsoft Defender and the Azure Security Center. A quick disclaimer about the session. Uh, Whatever I'm going to talk about in this sessions, all the views are my own views, my personal views. The content for this session I collected by visiting multiple blogs, Twitters, tweets, and Microsoft article, books, and many other things. And none of the things that I'm going to present in this session is related to my employer, neither to their cloud strategy or nor to their SIEM or the security strategies. So before we move further, a quick description or a quick talk about some of the important concepts that will come during the training or during the session. So we will talk about some of the concepts like what is SOC, what is SIEM, and what is SOAR, and then we will jump to the Azure Sentinel. So the first thing is the Security Operations Center, that's called SOC. So if you are from the SOC, you know how important SOC it is and how it protects the organization from the security threats and the vulnerable things, and it's very important for the cyber security. But if someone is not from the Security Operations Center domain, then I'm just going to give you some brief definition. So Security Operations Center continuously monitor and analyze the security procedures. Actually, it acts like the hub that collects telemetry from across an organization IT infrastructure and further analyze it, and thus helping the organization to protect itself from the vulnerable threats. SOC are primarily responsible for identify, analyze, and reacts to the cybersecurity threats, uh, investigate suspicious activities, and try to prevent them. Reduce the downtime. I mean, any business can be impacted by any kind of attack. So, SOC, their core responsibility is to reduce the downtime by protecting the infrastructure and maintain the business continuity. At high level, it includes some of the technologies like SIEM, log management, SOAR, vulnerability management, threat intelligence, and many other things. Now, let's move to the another important concept that's called SIEM. People call it as a SIM, or it depends on which part of world you are, but like you can pronounce it as a SIM, or you can remember as it as in security information and event management. So it's a system that has log files, security alerts, and events, and it'll just keep everything at one place. We can call it as a more like a log management tool that's specialized in dealing the security aspects. Now, another important concept is security orchestration, automation, and response. That's called SOAR. Uh, on the screen, we have the definition from the Gartner. But in short, it helps us in vulnerability management, incident response. Importantly, it helps in building the automation. It's like in the SIM, you get an incident and then performing triage by leveraging a combination of human and machine power. So we can just enable the automation with help of automation tools. So that's called SOAR. A very interesting news. I'm sure you must have heard it or read it somewhere that Microsoft's made a $10 billion business in 2020 in the security domain. Uh, so I mean, uh, Microsoft is like very much investing into the security business. It's just trying to protect the infrastructure from all kind of threats. And Sentinel is also a very biggest contributor to the security business. I mean, a lot of Microsoft leadership team talks about the Sentinel. They keep blogging about it. So it's a very hot entity. Azure Sentinel is a very hot entity. Around 9,000 customers are actively using the Azure Sentinel since it made available in September 2019. There are some records available on the screen that are related to the some survey done by the Forrester around the total economic impact. So you can just read about it on the presentation. It will be available over the net, so you can just read about it. But then, as I said, like Microsoft is making a very heavy investment in the security in last few years, and gone are the days like when the Microsoft antivirus was not that watertight. People used to ignore the warnings generated by the Microsoft antivirus in the past, but now it's making a very serious investment. So uh, the security investment Microsoft is making, and thus the reason like Sentinel is also emerging is one of the best tool for doing the SIEM and protecting the infrastructure from the security things. So yeah, let's come to the topic. What is Azure Sentinel? Uh, so Azure Sentinel is a complete cloud native SIEM and a SOAR tool that can do the event management as well as can enable the automations. Uh, it eliminates the infrastructure complexity because it's on the cloud. It's hosted on the Azure cloud, so we don't have to worry about infrastructure. If you are from the if you are from the SIEM domain, then you know how difficult it is to manage the infrastructure of the tool where the SIEM tool is hosted. But this complexity will not be there with the Sentinel because it's on the Azure. I mean, it has capability to investigate security data collected from multiple clouds and on premises. We can collect the data from any cloud, Amazon or like if you're capable of writing your own API, you can do it from Google Cloud or anywhere else also. It gives you an option to analyze the large volumes without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. It helps you in doing the alert triages, dashboarding capabilities, and many things. So Sentinel is a cloud security analytic tool that is addressing the challenges faced by the security operations teams. Uh, so as I said, Sentinel can help you in collecting the data. It can help you in detecting the threats with its analytics capability or the hunting capabilities. You can investigate the incident. You can enable the automation. So lot of things you can do it with the Azure Sentinel. So let's jump to the demo. We will see how Sentinel looks like. So on the Azure portal, to access the Azure Sentinel, what you have to do is come here to the search and then call it as an Azure Sentinel. So if you can see, I already have two Azure Sentinel configured in my subscription, but I will walk you through how you can configure the Azure Sentinel configuration. So when you add a Azure Sentinel, actually you're not gonna add a Sentinel. I mean, Azure Sentinel depends on the log analytics workspace that's in the presentation. It it's totally depend on the log analytics workspace. I mean, it's built upon the log analytics workspace. It uses its workspace for storing the telemetry. So whatever the telemetry data we are collecting it from the environment or from the third-party cloud or machines, everything stores into the log analytics workspace. So when you create the Sentinel thing, it's actually not going to create anything into the Sentinel. It is just a linking of your Sentinel with the log analytics workspace. So yeah, before we create a log analytics workspace, one important thing that I want to discuss is about why Sentinel is in demand. It's in a demand because it's hosted on the cloud, so there is no challenges of the licensing. You have to pay for whatever you are using. No headache or trouble of maintaining the in SIEM environment. I mean, if you are from the SIEM domain, you know how complex the environment it is, and how we need a good amount of people to manage the infrastructure. You don't have to install any servers either on premise or in the cloud. Because it's a service that you can directly use. It's tightly integrated with third-party clouds as well. You can collect the data from there also, and it'll help you in like enable end-to-end security operations, including the collection, detection, investigation, and response. So yeah, let's move to the configuring, how we can configure the Azure Sentinel workspace. So to create the Sentinel, just come here, click on add. So as I said, like there is nothing related to its own Sentinel workspace. It's everything is dependent on the into the log analytics workspace. So if you already have a log analytics workspace, you can select any of them and link it with your Sentinel, or you can create a new one. So what we will do is we will create a new one. So let me create a new Sentinel, log analytics workspace. So what I will do is I will just create a new resource group. So cloud lunch. Okay, and I'm gonna create the log analytics workspace cloud lunch. Here is the reason where it is hosted. So I will, for a time being, I will just select as it is a West Europe. Pricing tier, lot of pricing options are available here. Pricing happen on based on amount of telemetry data that we are inserting into the log analytics workspace. So let me create the log analytics workspace for you, and then we will link our Sentinel with this. So I have click on create, and within a minute we will have a log analytics workspace. We will just link it with our Sentinel. So log analytics workspace, actually it's a part of the Azure monitor. That's also used for doing the monitoring, not specific to the security. I mean, you can do the security thing also, but it's mostly of the infrastructure based monitoring. You can do the performance monitoring with the log analytics. It will collect the telemetry from the machines or from any of the Azure resources, and same can also be used inside the Sentinel. So we will just link our this cloud lunch with our Sentinel workspace. So we have our Sentinel configuration ready. It's going to show us, I mean, within a minute our thing will be ready. So just a minute. Okay, so here is our Azure Sentinel configuration, or you can call it as a workspace or anything. I mean, here we have our Sentinel ready. So here it will tell you about number of events that are inserted, or number of incidents which are raised, or many other things. So this is our blank Sentinel thing. We don't have any information. It is just an empty box. Now we have to pull up the information inside the Sentinel workspace, or with the help of the connector. So what I will do is I have already configured one workspace, ignite the tour. Here we have a lot of information, so we will just make use of it. Okay, so now we have our Sentinel workspace ready. Now the second thing that we need is the data. Without data we cannot do anything. So here the important thing that comes into the picture is the Azure Sentinel data connectors. So these data connectors are something that's going to actually pull up the data from the resources. So you can pull up the data from Microsoft services like Office 365, Defender, Azure Active Directory, or like you can have the data from the firewalls like Iron Port, Cisco firewall, many things. You can have the data from the syslog servers that can be in the common event format, and even from the third party connectors as well. So In short, there are many type of connectors available, but they can be classified into the four category. One is the native connections, second one is the direct connections, third one is the API connections, and the last one is the agent based. So native connectors are like the active directory based connector where you can easily configure and pull up the data. Then direct connector will be something like AWS connector, firewall connectors. Uh, these are the direct connector that need some kind of configurations. Then you can write your own API for pulling up the data, or you can install the log analytics agent on the machine that will pull up the data from the log analytics with the help of that log analytics agent and insert it into the Sentinel workspace. So these are kind of things that comes while doing the Cisco Iron Port F5 monitoring or collecting the event logs, security, or anything. So let's jump to the another concept that's called Azure Sentinel, the Graph Security API. So most of the connectors, not all, but most of them are depend on the Graph Security API. Uh, these are powered by, some of the connectors are powered by the Graph Security API. It is used to access the data. With help of it, we collect the data from many different security products also, and this allows to easily access the data from the Azure Active Directory, Azure Security Center, Intune, and other things. So let's see how our data connector works. So once you are into the Azure Sentinel portal, uh, you'll see some things like the general is about overview about the incidents which are available in our infrastructure, about the alerts, type of alerts that are there in the generated within the infrastructure, uh, logs there logs are there, and then some news and guides about the Sentinel. And then there is a threat management, then there is a configuration. So data connector are used for bringing up the data. So we can have around 98 connectors available, and this number is not kind of a that we only have 98 connector. Maybe next month when you come here, you will see 100 connectors available. So Microsoft is making a huge investment in bringing up the connectors so that we can have a good chunk of data from all kind of resources. So to connect the connector, what you have to do, you have to pick up the connectors. Like for example, if we pick this Azure Active Directory, just open the connector page and then fill up these all forms. Good thing about the connector is the way here the information is present. Here you have the description what this connector does, and if you know about the logs, it's going to pull up these kind of logs and everything, like what are the prerequisite for this connector, what kind of logs is going to pull up. So you can just click on the apply changes. And then very important thing is the next steps. Next step is like once this connector is configured, what you can do in the next steps, and uh, like how you can investigate. So what I will do is, in this infrastructure I already have a lot of connectors configured. So the connectors with this vertical green line are, that means connected. We have some other connectors also available, but they need some kind of configuration, and it's not possible to connect this in the like in this demo kind of environment. So I will show you what all providers are here. Like you can have the connector from these many things. We have Amazon, we have Acme, um, we have Google connectors as well. Lot of things are there. So for example, let's see the Google one. So I will just select Google one, and you can connect the data from the G Suite. If you have some configuration available, you can then follow these all instructions and then collect the data from the Google also. So let's move to the to the Sentinel workspace we just created. So that's this um, cloud lunches, the one which we created here, the cloud lunch. We will come here, and here we will start connecting the connectors. So I will start with the Active Directory connector. It's very simple. It's a native connector, so we don't have to do much. Just come here, select everything, and then click on apply changes. So right now I'm just blindly clicking on selecting all the options because we are doing it for the demo purpose, but you have to be a bit careful because the billing happens on the amount of data you are inserting. So you have to make sure that what all kind of data you need. If you need everything, select everything and apply changes. Or if you want specific kind of a data, then you can do a research and then select it. So here we have this kind of things available. Let's create some other like audit logs, or let's select some activity log. So I will select this Azure activity logs. I will click on configure activity logs and just click on connect, and then it's going to bring up the data uh, into my Sentinel workspace. We have many other kind of connectors available. If you are from the Linux world, then you know how important it is to get the data from the syslog. We have syslog things also. Syslog is an agent based connector. So in this, what you have to do is you have to deploy the log analytics based agent on the Linux machine. So you can just connect on the Linux machine and just download this agent and apply the configuration, and then you can make some changes to the log analytics workspace. Here you can add the facility, so I will just add some facility like local, say 4, or say auth facility I'm going to configure. So these are kind of configuration available. So if you have Linux machines ready, you can make use of for use of it for collecting the syslogs. Like you do set up things into the Linux machines related to the syslog, and then you can enable the collection from here. We have very importantly, we have the connectors specific to the Azure Defender also. So if you are from the Defender world, you know how important it is. Defender is like a cutting edge technology that can help in setting up the security. So this provides the integration for the Defender also. So once you configure the Defender connector, uh, you can have the data from the Defender. I mean, you can have the alerts generated into the Defender. That's gonna come in. I mean, all the uh, alerts generated into the Defender, you can see it on the Sentinel portal, or you can collect the data uh, from the Defender. I mean, the type of data that uh, comes from the Defender, you can collect it from there also. Uh, Azure, like, I mean, these are kind of a things available. Or let's choose this one, and I will just select. Okay, let's leave this Defender piece. We have Azure Defender thing. We have tried. We have Microsoft Defender. For endpoint, we can connect it. I mean, it's just that we need the E5 licensing. I'm just showing you how you can do it. Some E5 licensing are required. It may not fully work, although it will allow us to configure the things, but then it's not gonna solve our purpose. But like as I said, we can have the data from the defenders also, because we have the, like, you don't have to manage the two separate incident queues, one at the Defender side, one in the Sentinel. I mean, both can be synced here to the Sentinel, so we can make use of the Defender connectors as well. We have Azure Firewall also. Firewall needs some kind of special configuration, like open the firewall, diagnostic kind of a thing. Like if you already have the Azure Firewall, what you have to do is, let's see if we can configure the firewall connector. Or let's see, open firewall. We don't have the firewall, but then if you have the firewall, then you can just enable the diagnostic setting over it, and then you can go to the diagnostic log and enable it, send it to the log analytics workspace, and then we can have the firewall connectors ready. So all the connector comes up some kind of a hands-on document that you need to follow for doing the configuration. Like if you open this connector page. Here you can see what all things are needed, what all things you need to do, and once it is configured you can start working on it. So yeah, now we have covered two important aspects. One is about configuring this entire Sentinel workspace. Second one is the connector. So now we have the connector. Connector are gonna bring up the raw data. I mean, we have the data. I will see. I will show you what all data we have. I will just run this search asterisk, and it's going to show me all kind of data which is available. So I will just run it for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna pull up the data. It may fail because we have big amount of data and we are just running a query because we have these many kind of available. So I will just try to process it. We'll just make as a distinct table. So we will see what all kind of tables we have where our data is stored. So the query that I am writing it here, these all queries called KQL, Kusto query languages. Uh, if you are from the SQL background or if you ever use the SQL, then you can understand this query more easily. They are very much similar to the SQL queries. But remember, they are not the SQL queries. Data are stored into the table and we have to fetch up with this. So we have, for example, we have this kind of data available. I will just put device info. So I will see what all data is there into the device info. So I have this data, but this is more of the raw data. I mean, I cannot make sense out of it. Uh, uh, like up to some extent we can try to understand, but then who we cannot deal every day with this raw data. We need some kind of processing. So that comes with the help of the threat management. So let's talk about what is this threat management and threat intelligence, and then we will again come back to the demo. So before threat management, there is another important concept that's called the threat intelligence. So threat intelligence is something like bringing up some kind of intelligence into a sentinel. Uh, you all know, right, how difficult it is to manage the cyber security because the hackers are adopting the sophistication. They have sophisticated all kind of modern attacks, and it's very difficult for an organization to keep track of all kind of vulnerability that's are available. So understanding what to look for and deciding what to do when you see a system anomaly or any potential threat, it's a very complex and a time consuming. Now this is where the threat intelligence comes in picture. Threat intelligence provides a list of the indicator available for detection and blocking malicious activities. Microsoft also provides its own threat intelligence feeds via the TI indicator API. It can also connect to an open source um, threat indicator data from the public servers to identify and analyze response to the threat activities. So I'm sure you have heard about some of the concept log ATT and CK, or the trusted automated exchange of indicator information, taxi, or threat connects, threat indicator alert definitions, or MITRE. These all are like part of the threat intelligence. So I talked about the threat management. So we have the data connectors. Data connectors will pull up the raw data, but to process the data, we need the threat management. So Azure Sentinel provides you some options of the threat management, like uh, these these options will help you in identifying the threats and take the appropriate actions. So we can have the incidents, we can have the workbooks, hunting capabilities, and notebooks. So let's jump to each and every category, how these can be used. So the first thing is to do the threat management. We have the incidents. So I will show you about the available incidents, what all incidents are available in our infrastructure. So I'm remember, I'm like going to show you about the incidents which are already there into my infrastructure, not about the incidents, how to create the incident. That we will talk a bit later, but about the incident. So Sentinel provides a very good options of managing the incidents. I mean, we can have the incident generated. So I created one sample uh, incident that can be used. So here, actually, what I'm doing is, uh, as soon as we have any critical services that are modified as our specific service, then we are generating the alerts. So here, like we have this incident generated, we have all the details when it is generated, what type of tactics it has applied, and things. I mean, we can see the things here, we can see the affected entities and many things. So this sentinel view will sentinel incident view will give above information about the available incidents, and then you can perform the specific actions over the incidents also. So what we can do is we can assign these incident to someone. So what I can do is assign it to my colleague. Say I will assign it to Anushka, my colleague Anushka, and then uh, we can see like just write something that you have to investigate things. So this is assigned to Anushka, or let's see what we can do is we can close out the incident also. So I will see this one, and then I will just assign it to myself, and then I can just perform the action. So I will say let's close it because that's a false positive. So I will just make sure that false positive. I used this for testing. Then click on apply. So this provides a very good view of managing the incidents. Uh, I mean, incidents are something kind of a notifications, right? Or the things where you can perform the actions. If some kind of security breach happens, you can raise an incident for it. So it's a very important piece, and Sentinel provides a good options. Now, as I said at the beginning, here I am showing you about the incidents which are available, like all incidents which are generated into my infrastructure. Now, how you can generate the incident is you have to make use of the analytics. So Sentinel provides a lot of templates available for configuring the alert rules. So these are the alert rules which are already there in my infrastructure, uh, like Active Directory based or some of the demo based, or like we can make use of any of these templates. So let's say Solari, we will make use of something called, okay, user login from a different company. So sorry, user logged in from the different countries. So I will create a alert rule for it. So because this is a template, everything is available. I don't have to do much. Uh, just some kind of information you can fill it here, and you can just make use of this thing, and then click on create. I mean, this has some exceptions because it's just pulling up the data from this Okta, and we have not configured the Okta. So I will just make another example. Let's say active, something related to the active thing. Okay, let's say Azure Active Directory thing we will create. So we don't have to do much because everything is coming from the template, so everything is there. I will just create this one and then configure this one, and this will be ready. So once this alert rule is configured, this can help us in generating the incident. So whatever we have defined condition inside this template, that's going to help us in generating the incident. So if that condition is matched, then we are going to have the incident. So you can make use of the templates which are available here. If you're not if you don't want to use the template, you can create your own things also. Creating the alert rules is also possible, like you have to find out the correct logic. So we will just try to create something with this device info. So I have this device info log. So let's try to explore. what is there in the device info, and I will make use of some filter option. And like for this thing, I want to, like, this is not the complete logic, but I will show you how you can do the how you can create the Sentinel alert rule templates also. You just have to fill up the details like cloud lunch and sample device info. Tactics, if you are from the SIEM background, you know these are kind of tactics available. Otherwise, there are a lot of description available on the libraries. You can read about it. So I will, for a time being, I will just mark it as a discovery. Here is the logic. Uh, a very simple logic, not a enough one to generate the alert, but for a demo purpose, I will just use this one. Here you can do the custom mapping. As much information you put it into the custom mapping and custom details, it will be much easier to do the investigation of the alert. And when this alert will runs, it runs in every 5 hours and look for the data for the last 5 hours. So this kind of a query will run in every 5 hours and it will look for the data for the last five hours. So for example, if it is executed at 9:30 p.m., then it's going to look up for the data for last 5 hours. So it means it will search for the data from the 4:30 p.m. till 9:30 p.m. Uh, we have a lot of other settings also. Automated response, we will talk about it later on. And then uh, let's create this one. So here we have created the sample uh, alert rule that will generate the alert once we have the data for this condition. Uh, Now let's move to the another topic that's called, we talked about the uh, incidents, how we can create the incident. Now another one is the hunting capabilities. So hunting is about like the proactive method of identifying the threats. So Azure Sentinel provides built-in capabilities for doing the hunting. I mean, hunting is based on the KQL powerful Kusto query languages. This language provides the intelligence and uh, uh, lot of informations are there. I mean, over the GitHub library, you will see lot of uh, KQL queries available, lot of hunting queries available, contributed by the user. And for each and everything like Solari Gate, Hafenium, all kind of attack, you will find out the queries. You can make reuse of them, or you can just read them and develop your own queries. So let's go to the hunting capabilities, how you can do the hunting. So to do the hunting, you have to again come back to the this piece called threat management. In the threat management, you have this hunting capability. In the hunting tab capability, again there are a lot of templates which are available. You can make use of these templates for running the hunting. So for example, let's say failed service logon or host with the new logons. Although we will not have much of data, but we can make use of it. So I'm just gonna run this one, and here I can see this run query, and then I can click on the view results. So it's going to run some query in the background, uh, and it can help us with this kind of information. So I have these kind of new like data fetched by this hunting query, and I can further analyze it. So most of the time these hunting capabilities uh, comes into the picture when you have to do the proactive remediation. So for example, you logged into the office, you started your day, and you got an information that Hafenium attack happened, and you wanted to understand what all resources are got impacted by your by this Hafenium attack. Then you can make of this hunting capabilities, like for searching the data. uh, you can have make use of these templates. Lot of information are available, or you can write your own queries also. You can write your own new query, uh, KQL query for doing the hunting. So here you have this, not sure why this is not loading correctly, but type of tactics available. So for say we have this collection thing, we can find out what all templates are available for collections, multiple users email forwarded, or many things are available. Lot of queries are there, like we have initial access, we have command and control. So we say some Solari get DNS pattern. We just have to run the query and just view the results. So uh, these hunting capabilities will help us in doing the proactive remediation. We can proactively explore our infrastructure, try to find out if any kind of compromised happen or any vulnerable attack happen. We can do it with the help of the hunting capabilities. Now there is an important concept that's called workbook that comes into the picture. Workbook is something like the dashboards on which the data can be projected. So you know how important it is to project the data over the dashboards. I mean, you can in the CIO room, you can have the dashboards projecting the data about real-time attacks. So uh, you will have these kind of, for example, let's pick up this firewall. So we have this kind of templates. I mean, this kind of a graphical data will be present. Uh, we actually don't have the data, but then firewall overviews, firewall over by events by firewall over time, or a lot of things. So we will have this kind of a view. Uh, like once the data is there, we can have this kind of view available, which can be used for projecting the data. You can make use of the templates, or you can make use of your own queries also. I mean, you can write your own queries. So let's see this Linux machine kind of a thing. So Linux machine, I don't have the data, that's why it's not coming over the dashboards. But once you have this configured, you can have the good amount of data available over the dashboards. So we talked about the workbooks. Now there is one more concept called entity behavior analytics. That's called this UEBA. That's called UEBA. That's called user and entity behavior analytics. So it will give you details about the specific user, what all information performed by a specific user, or what is the what are the information available for a specific machine. So with this we can fetch up the information. So let's see what are available. Like when you have the production environment, this kind of a view is going to give you the information about the alerts generated by the accounts, by the specific account, uh, like the user account you can find out, or specific host you can find out. So let's see what all information we have. uh, Keshav. Okay. Okay, no problem. We will just pull up the information for the syslog server machine. So we have this Linux machine, and then here it will show me all the information which is tied up to this machine. We don't have much information, but then if it is available, you can see it into the UE bar. I mean, it can even give you the granular information about the broadband used by the user, or the reason where he exists. I mean, this kind of information can help you in doing all kind of uh, proactive search, or understanding the behavior of the user, how he behaves, and many things. So you can search for the machines or the user with this help of the UE bar. For configuring this, you can come to the settings, and then audit logs, sign-in logs we can apply. Then it can have the information available. So at the start of the session, we talked about One important concept is called SOAR, that's called automation and response. So in Sentinel also we have that SOR capability available that comes with the help of the playbooks. Azure Sentinel playbooks are the logic apps based playbooks that can perform the automation. It's like it's like when a security alarm is raised, the SOC team may need assistance from several other teams in order to investigate. So you can automate those all kind of interaction. Like when we have the incident, we can run some kind of automation with the help of the Azure Logic Apps playbooks. And recently, there is a new concept added to the Sentinel that's called automation rules that can also help you in doing the automation. So playbooks are like, as I said, these are the logic app based playbook which are available. So you can see it under the automation category. uh, this is the very new concept that's added, that's called automation rule. That's still in a preview, but then we have these kind of playbooks that are available and help us in doing the automation. I mean, so see, we have these kind of some of the playbook that are already uh, these 3 4 comes with the Sentinel. You can create your own thing also. So let's see this one, open a Jira ticket. So what it will do is whenever you have any incident, it can help you in integrating with the Jira ticket. We can have our own playbooks also, so we can create our own logic app playbooks that can help us in building the automation. So let's see how we can do is we just have to create the logic app thing, playbook, cloud lunch automation West Europe, and then click on create. Let's click on the create. It is ready. So what you have to do is you have to configure this playbook, like say we can collect this one and we'll pull the date connector. Don't get confused with the data connector. This is the logic app connector that will set up the integration with. So we will set up something like when a response to an Sentinel alert is triggered, and here we can perform the actions. So we can just set up the integration with our Sentinel workspace. We just have to select the correct Sentinel workspace. We have many things available. Let's select this one. Add a comment to the incident. So whenever we have an incident, we can add a comment to it. This is our testing, or we can assign this incident to something else, someone also, with the help of this automation. For now, we will just leave it as a comment. So here, like, we have configured the playbook, and then how playbook comes in the picture is we have to attach these playbooks with the incident rules. So we have these rule created. So one which we created is for the cloud lunch. I will just add it and enable this automated response, cloud lunch automation. So whenever this alert rules is triggered, it finds out the incident, then we can just, this will help us in adding the comment. So this is how, like, you can configure the playbooks. There are really good example where you can configure the playbooks, like assigning it to the user or sending the notification for the users. Like somebody try to access some files or the website which is not recommended in the infrastructure, you can send out the pop-up message to him with the help of the team. It's just that you have to write the correct Azure Logic Apps playbook for it, and then you can do the automation. So this is about the about how you can do the automation. I mean, how it can help you in achieving the SOAR capabilities also. So yeah, that's all about the Sentinel, how Sentinel works in. I mean, I just tried to give you all a quick introduction how useful it can be once you have the proper Sentinel environment available. It can do the SIEM. I mean, you don't have to worry about the overhead of the infrastructure that is there with the existing SIEM tools. It's very hard to manage the SIEM tool, but the Azure Sentinel, you can easily do it because it's on the cloud. And the Sentinel is a must-have tool for modern SOC because uh, it is capable of bringing Microsoft own products together, but it also additionally brings the capability of being a central component of an organization security operations center. Uh, and that's the reason like why I'm calling this as a must-have tool for the SOC, because it can do a wonder when we have configured. It can help you with the incident management. It can help you with proactive detections and many things, and also with the automation. So yeah, that's all about my session. Thanks a lot to the Cloud Lunch and Learn team, and thanks to all the audience also. Uh, Stay safe and keep exploring the Azure Sentinel. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.